I hate to break the fishing news after Remcheck, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations, you're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down.
Yep. All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today.
Episode 287 of the Real Life Podcast. Tyler Remchuk, Bag Milk, Jay, Chalmers, Wanye, soon to be Luke Gazdic. He emailed me an hour ago and said, looking forward to chatting with you guys. And I said, oh boy, you're excited to talk to a bunch of guys in their trucks.
Now, hold on. You said Wanye soon to be Luke Gazdic. Am I becoming Luke Gazdic?
No,
transformational episode.
Yeah. You want me to pretend to be Luke Gazdic? Is that what you're saying?
That's how we're going to get away with it. That's our new strategy for interviewing big name guests is we're just going to get you to pretend to be them.
I'll pretend. Okay, I'm Luke Gazdic. Hey, everybody. It's me, Luke Gazdic.
Oh, hey, Luke. Hey, Luke.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Your show's amazing. Me and all my former NHL player friends talk about it regularly.
And that's it. Like, that's the whole... All right. The podcast is brought to you by the HGA Group. It's the next generation of business services. They are helping us grow this business right here, the Nation Network, and they can help your business as well. Check them out, the HGA Group. Good local company. We're going to have some guests. We're going to have a whole whack of guests coming up here. I'm very excited for what we got coming up in the next month here. But also, I think we're going to have a new intro launching right away. So if you're listening to this, I want your help constructing the next intro for this show. What are your favorite sound bites? What are some iconic real life sound bites that you think that really stick out in your head as a listener that should be included in the next intro for this podcast? I'm all ears, literally. My very large ears. But
can we have a robot voice that goes like, you are now listening to Real Life in the beginning? Because that'd be fly.
I feel like people might tire of that.
Well, this currently starts out with me going, and I'm tired of that. A robot would be dope. Chalmers, you do not have a penis.
Oh, boy. Where'd it go?
That robot's crazy mad about Chalmers in his wiener situation. That would be my vote, though, your M-Shack. Robot voice.
Okay.
You don't have to say yes. You said brainstorm. Not every idea is a good one.
Maybe we should do like a 10-minute. Maybe we should do like a 10-minute blurb where we all just shout out things that like could be little like catchphrases that could go in the intro, and we just like yell shit for like 10 minutes. I mean, that's basically what the podcast is anyway.
You want to brainstorm new catchphrays? Yeah. Oh, that'd be all right.
Anyways,
That's not a salmon. That's my grandfather. No? Okay.
We can do better.
Just trying to work out the ideas, Chalmers. Not everyone's a keeper.
There's no
throw spaghetti at the wall. You yell something out, I'll fucking shoot you down. Make you sad too.
I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
We better pull our shit together before Luke Gazdic gets here. He was a great Oiler, man. I love Luke Gazdic.
Yeah, we gotta talk about some stuff before he gets here.
Namely, we didn't prep for the interview, so let's do it now.
No,
we'll prep right now.
Namely, no. But the things that are happening in hockey. That's sure. There's some big.
Why? What's happening?
Well, I mean, I was kind of happy with seeing that Reeves got 2 games from what he did. And after hearing what I said and being quite emotional and not really thinking too much about it, I'm glad that when the more things that I read and the more things that I listened to from people who actually know what the fuck they're talking about, kind of agreed with me and kind of were on the same wavelength as I was. So that was nice to see.
There's been numerous crises since then. Scheifele hit that guy and opened up a black hole. He hit him so hard.
Well, as I was going to say, last night, obviously, I mean, Toronto's out. That felt great.
Great.
It was nice to see Oilers fans get to do what the Maple Leafs fans did to Oilers fans after we lost. So the stuff that I'm hearing about Toronto, just like the records, like that's 8 straight Game 7 losses. That's that's like they in 21 days they're gonna have the longest amount of time between Stanley Cup wins. They're gonna break the record, so they will hold.
Who had the old record?
I don't know.
The Blues.
Yeah, I think Rangers. So it's like that's cool, but the Scheifele thing last night, I remember. Like I don't envy George Peros right now, man. That guy's got to make some tough calls because like I broke that thing down like it was a Zapruder film last night, and it was just and
good reference.
I still don't totally know how I feel about it. Like I think it was such a good hit. That's the problem, right? Like it was a good tough play, minute left. Scheifele knows what he has to do. I've seen the argument that he should have come in stick first and not played the body. But when you're like when you're the Jake Evans and you're coming around, there's 6 guys coming back as hard as they can. You should probably take a look behind you. And he didn't once. And it's just, there's a lot to it. But all in all, I think that like the fact that it was such a big hit and such the repercussions of it were that he was very injured, stretcher, very dramatic afterwards. Like it makes it a lot worse. If he gets up and skates away, I don't think anybody has a real problem with it. As much as I hate Scheifele for how well he played against us, I've always kind of liked him. He's always been kind of I think he's overrated. You think so? Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Hockey's interesting right now. That Colorado Avs series that Colorado Vegas series is just fucking awesome. Like that game was so good last night. And so I don't know. Hockey's exciting. I just wish
hockey's making headlines right now. Like if you're a purist hockey fan, there's these kind of hard-nosed series that are just scrappy and physical and a ton of fun to watch. If you're maybe more of a, I call it, a new age fan who likes the speed and the skill, like that Colorado Vegas series is incredibly entertaining. It's getting into the news. The NHL is trending because fans on Twitter are debating suspensions every second night. There's a lot of headline material.
The suspension argument, like, you see guys say, "Oh, Scheifele deserves 8 games for that." That's just
fuck off.
Horse.
Yeah, if Scheifele had made that hit in 1996, Don Cherry would have worn a trench coat and wrapped over it in the coach's corner.
He would have put him in the trolley track section.
Let's go,
whammo, whammo. Let's go.
Let's go.
That hit is a very interesting subject because it talks about a lot of things. Like at the end of the day, it is a headshot because the player was down and he hit him in the head.
He's in a defenseless position.
But like, you're a professional fucking hockey player, dude. You should know your surroundings. You should have your head up. Like there's like I said, like it should be suspended. It was a headshot. That's without a doubt. I want to make sure I'm clear on that. Like he did skate up the ice. It could be considered a charge, but
but it's almost be a
pro, dude. Like you need to have your head up, and you at least have to look to see what's going on before you make that move.
Yeah. Your Chuck, do you want me to imitate a celebrity here, like you said earlier?
No, he wants us to wrap it up so we can get to Luke.
You want 1994 Don Cherry to be like, "That's what you get for trying to score an empty netter. Let's go!"
Trying to run up the score on the opposition. You're up by 1. Run out the clock. Hitting the table,
You're Chuck. Your comment about Scheifele being overrated for $6 million, that's the player you get. That's a pretty good fucking deal. Dude.
Oh yeah, compared to his salary, he's like fine. Like he's a good player for $6 million. But sometimes people love to throw him into like the top 10 in the NHL conversation, and it's like whoa, like easy.
I agree with you there.
And that's only my point. Like he loves to be made out like this elite number 1 center. Like he's like a good number 1 center. Like he's middle road for number 1 centerman. Like he's not elite. He's not in the conversation with the Marchands, Crosbys, McDavids, McKinnons, and all them. Okay, all right. Couple things to get to. First, some love to Neo Financial. It's a better way to spend, save, and get rewarded. The app is beautiful. It is easy to use. Savings at a 1.30% interest. I don't know much about money. I've been told that's pretty good, though. Neo Financial, no minimum balance, no monthly fees or annual fees, and all the perks of an everyday bank account. They're also giving you some chances to win money through giveaways with Oilers Nation. Shout out to Neo Financial. And now we will bring in our friend Luke Gazdic, former NHLer, 136 games in the Oilers sweater, and recently announced his retirement. Let's start there. Like, why was now the right time for you to sort of hang him up?
Good question. I think I've known for a little bit here. I'm not a huge social media guy, so I wasn't sure how I should put it out there, but I wanted to get some words out there, and then 2 young kids from Toronto who I know helped put like a little video highlight thing together for me. So I just thought it was the right time. It was a Sunday. I was in Alberta at the time, actually, and it was just nice out. And I just felt like, today's a good day. Let's just do it. And I was a little overwhelmed and anxious to do it just because I thought there might be a lot of, people pouring out and stuff like that. But I'm glad I did it. And I'm kind of happy it's officially over now.
Why were you out in Alberta? Do you still come back here quite a bit?
I was in Calgary. I have some family out there.
Okay.
So I was, quietly trying to get out of Ontario for a little bit. But I did some stuff with the Oilers. Actually, I did a pregame show with Jack Michaels once, just virtually. And I love Alberta, man. I love being out there, whether it's, I know the Calgary Edmonton thing, but I just love the province in general.
I was going to save this question for the end, but I'll toss it out there now. You mentioned you did the pregame show with Jack Michaels. What's next for Luke Gazdic? Are you going to be a media guy? Is this what you're jumping into?
I have some stuff in the works. I haven't really decided. I've done a little bit of that stuff now. I did one with Jack, and even talking with Jason Gregor the other day, mentioned, doing some stuff in the booth, but I haven't really made any concrete decisions. I'm just taking some time right now. I've taken a bunch of time off, but even still now, I think there's a majority of guys that, have something they love to do or they went to school for, and after they're done playing, they go straight into it. And then there's a large majority of guys too that have no clue. And I think I float somewhere in the middle of those. I know some things I want to do, and like I said, have a couple of things in the works, but nothing set in stone yet.
It's also a weird ass time in that there's a lot of stuff you want to do you can't do too, probably, right? So taking a little bit of time right now, never been a better time to take it some time.
Being locked in your house for the last couple of months hasn't helped too. So
really makes a guy think, doesn't it? When you can't leave or go anywhere, what do you want to do with your life?
Yeah, it's been tough. Even having to do stuff virtually, like even doing that with Jack the other night. I would have loved to be, person to person or done some stuff in the booth. I'm not that great virtually. I know I've met a couple of you boys. I love being in person and meeting people and talking in front of a camera. So,
have you been in Ontario? Where have you been for all this?
Mostly Ontario, yeah. I was in California for a bit, and then came back home to Toronto. And then I have a cottage in Parry Sound, which is kind of north central Ontario. I spent the whole winter there. Basically lived that hermit life, the caveman life. Built a rink on the lake, and
sick.
I was out in Alberta for about a month and a bit there, and now back to my home, Toronto. I love it here. I know Toronto gets a bad rap from pretty much the rest of the country, but it's my home, man, and I love being here.
So, being from Toronto, did you grow up a Maple Leafs fan? Are you? Yeah,
I figured that was going to come up as soon as I said Toronto. Yeah. Yeah.
In the context of life, though, you can like whoever you want. We all hate each other, but at the end of the day, we're like, oh, Toronto relative to other cities, of course, wonderful.
Yeah. No, I grew up a born and bred Leaf fan, man, and that was tough. That was a tough one. I'm not a huge diehard fan like some of my buddies. I know the fans get it the most. I know other fan bases hate the Leaf fans, and man, even for other fan bases watching, it's been tough to watch these guys
it's tough
implode over the years.
Yeah, it's tough after this one, especially because now it's not like they can't pass by with what happens in the regular season now. It's like they can have a great regular season. It can be 3/4 of the way through next season, and it won't matter anymore. And that's like really what the takeaway I feel from fans is. And I hate Maple Leafs. I hate the Maple Leaf fans, but like, I feel bad for them in this way that they have to live with that now. And like, it's all about playoffs now. And that was a tough one.
I know they're going to be under the microscope here for sure. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I was really disappointed when the Oilers went. And then when the Leafs went, I felt like that was almost the worst way to go out. Definitely in two pretty crappy situations, but the Leaf one, it's just tale as old as time. We've seen this thing outplay it, this thing.
It made me feel so much better about the Oilers. Like, we got swept. This is way worse. Now I can start laughing at Toronto.
Yeah, I guess so.
As a Leafs fan growing up, who is your favorite player? Who'd you look up to? Who'd you try to model your game after?
Well, I love to say Wendell Clark because I used to take the subway down. I lived pretty much right in the heart of the city. So I used to take the subway down, and it was like Clarkie and Gilmore were the two guys. But I was still super young at the time, so I couldn't appreciate them, I don't think, as much until a little later in life. My team was like the early 2000s with like Darcy Tucker, Gary Roberts, and even like Matt Sundin, who wasn't tough at all, but he's like that was our guy. But those early 2000s Leaf teams, those are my guys. I'll mention them again, but like Darcy Tucker, I love to, go into the Air Canada Center and watch him just fly all over the ice and crush people. It was great. Ty Domi too, obviously, was on that squad, who I forgot to mention. So they were tough, they were fast, they were mean, and it was such
all
a
little guys. League. All little guys.
Yeah, I know. It was just such a likable Leaf. It was just such a likable Leaf squad. It's tough for me to watch them these days. They're not built the same.
We're going to talk about your relationship with the city of Edmonton, the Oilers fan base specifically, but you played in Edmonton. You grew up in Toronto. You know what these like crazy Canadian markets are like. You also spent some time in the States playing. Did you appreciate or like value the die-hard Canadian fan base more than maybe the whole idea of, you know, being able to get away from the game a little bit more, maybe when you play in like San Diego and places like that?
Yeah, there's a lot to that question because I was in Austin for 4 years and we were an expansion team. So I think we had 200 fans in our first game, but we built the fan base up and it was a great place to play and live. But like you said, as soon as you get away from the rink, you kind of have your life to yourself. You barely are ever going to get recognized. And I remember the whole story of me getting picked up on waivers, and I remember getting in the cab for my first pregame skate, and the cab driver turned around and he was like, "Oh, you're the new guy, that you're Gasdick, right?" and he goes, "Oh, the tough guy or something, right?" And I just remember like looking up and being like, "We're not in Texas anymore here. Like this is wild." And then my first game was that home opener, and there was, you know, I don't even know how many recs saw, whatever it is, 17, 18,000 waving white towels. And I just remember stepping out to the ice and I'd never seen or heard anything like that before. And just escalated for those years there. It was the funnest atmosphere for me to play in.
Didn't you score 2 minutes into that game too? Your first NHL hockey game?
Yeah, first game, first shift, first shot, first
Shit.
Yeah.
Fucking
Gangster.
What?
Mario Lemieux.
14, I beat Lemieux had 15 seconds. I beat his record at 14 seconds.
There you go.
And then, I ended up scrapping Scott Thorburn in the second as well. So it was just a crazy. We ended up losing the game, which sucked, but it was a crazy, crazy opener for me.
That's one of those.
You won me over.
You
won me over that night. I was
Me too.
I was right behind the net when you scored that goal, and I was like, "Yes, this is our tough guy." And he can like you just like you got me that game.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be.
I think it took me like 56 games to score number 2, but
that doesn't matter.
I only remember number 1.
Yeah, number one's what matters.
That's one of those games where you like lose the game, but you're acting, you know, you're down because you lost the game afterwards. But goal, first shift, fight, you're probably a little bit like, that was fucking awesome. That was killer.
I know. It's like we're in the dressing room after and everyone's kind of down. I kind of like have this little shitty grin.
You're like, are we going out, boys? Are we going out? Where are we going?
Yeah, I know. I think my fan was in town, or else I would have probably been at some establishment on Jasper Ave. But
I love it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a great night, man.
Some guys come to town, some Oilers players come to town, and they're immediately embraced by the fans, right? And I think there was a lot of, obviously, some leaner games in your careers in Oilers as a team, but especially with how you came out of the gate, like people love you right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. And that was the goal, man. That was like, I don't set too many personal goals for myself, whether it's, you know, number of fights or points or anything like that. But my one goal was like, you know, I'm coming in to mess stuff up here. Like I'm coming in to send a message. And when you get picked up on waivers, you have 30 days with the team on an NHL roster. So I knew I had 30 games, and it was probably, or 30 days and maybe like, you know, 8 to 10 games in that span. And I just said, you know, I'm going to make the most of it and started off with a bang.
You totally made the most of it. You did a great job. Seems like you were here way longer than 130 games.
Yeah, I remember that too. And I think part of it too is like you were a very positive figure in a rather negative time to be a fan. So like the positive memory of like Luke Gazdic fucking steamroll the guy tonight and drop the mitts, like that always stood out for like 2 weeks because there was like not a lot of other positive shit.
That was our Stanley Cup.
That was our Stanley Cup. Your period and a half of hockey was our Stanley Cup.
Well, if you got like an Oilers fan, like, hey, what were the 10 best moments during that decade where we missed the playoffs? Like the Ryan Jones hat trick is up there. Luke Gazdic's goal in his first game is probably up there as well. Aside from that first goal, is there another like unique Edmonton Oilers moment that stands out to you?
I think if we're going towards the rink and like on ice stuff, I had a fight pretty early in the season. I don't even know when it was, but I fought Milan Lucic when Boston came to town. And that was a crazy one for me because there's guys in the minors that are tough, but then there's the guys who have established themselves in the NHL as tough. And at that point, I had put him in my probably top 3 in the league at the time. We went down 3-1 and Dallas Eakin sent me out. We were playing their fourth line all night, and Dallas Eakin sent me out again. Krejci was in the middle of Lucic and Iginla with Chara and McQuaid. And I just remember looking around being like, oh boy, like, all right. Like Dallas didn't have to say one thing. I kind of knew like, all right, let's get something going here. And ended up on Luch, and he didn't want it at first, but I kind of stood in front of him and told him he wasn't going anywhere. We ended up having a great scrap. And I just remember the crowd at Rexall. Like, I didn't even hear him cheer that loud for goals sometimes. Like, it was almost deafening to me. Like, usually you have so much adrenaline running through you, especially me after a fight, but I just sat in the box and it was so loud. And
I remember that fight.
It was such a cool moment for me because I tagged him pretty good a couple times too.
Yeah.
And that was just a surreal moment, kind of seeing 18,000, going nuts for a minute and a half fight.
Yeah, you look like you had to talk him into it a bit. He didn't seem to want any smoke.
Yeah, I had some choice words for him.
You catch him a couple really good ones.
Yeah, and I just basically told him, you're not going anywhere. I stood in front of him and called him a couple words, like I said. And before I knew it, his gloves were off and he was throwing before I even knew what was going on. And away we went.
Our friends at hockeyfights.com will love that answer. Were you one of the guys, like, whenever you hear an interview with a fighter, they're always like, oh, I was up the night before, like studying, watching film. Were you a studier? Were you on Hockey Fights, like watching the scraps and all that?
You know what I used to be? Like, when I was in the minors, especially coming up, I would, like, let's say it's a Wednesday morning, I would pull up all the fights from the night before and I'd watch them. Even guys I wasn't never going to play against. And I would just psych myself out. And then I was watching scraps on game days and like, I couldn't nap. We'd have a guy come to town and I'd watch all this stuff. And I pretty much stopped doing it as soon as I got to Edmonton. We had a great video coach. His name was Miles. And so I basically would know coming to the rink, what I wanted to do. And I would tell Milo, let's say we're playing Calgary. I would say, hey, can you cut me, Brian McGrattan's last 4 or 5 scraps? Like, I don't want to see him fight. I don't want to see him fight, Ty Domi in 2000. Like, I want to see like his last 5, what he's doing lately. I'd go out on the ice, I'd warm up, I'd come back in the dressing room. I'd scope the lines a little bit, make sure, see who was in. I'd top stuff off right to the video room, and I'd just watch, a couple scraps. And it could be 1, it could have been 4 or 5, but, I'd look for, righty lefty, how long did he go for? What happens when he gets hit? Just so I had an idea of what was going on. And that psyched me out a little less just because it was so fresh in my mind. And so that's about all the studying I did. It was kind of like I compared it to like a shooter, watching goalie film, or a goalie watching shooter film. Like, I just wanted to be as prepared as I could, because the guys that I was fighting, if you make a mistake, they're probably going to make you pay for it. So.
An interesting conversation I wanted to have with you is, and it's something that, in the media, it was beaten to death in those years where the Oilers were struggling, but it was that buzzword culture. And I've always wondered from an outsider perspective, like, it's something, again, we talk about so much. We're like, oh, they need to establish a winning culture. And, they have a losing culture. We heard that for like I said, 10 years here. For you, being in the room, did it ever feel like that when maybe the team wasn't racking up wins? Is that something like us in the media make too big of a deal of, or do we not make a big enough deal out of like what that word culture truly means to a player?
No, good question. And not to paint anything on the media or the fans in town, but Edmonton is a tough place to play hockey. Yeah. It is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the thin skin. If you read one tweet or someone says something bad about you in the media and it's going to affect the way you live and play, then you're not going to make it in E-Town. I wasn't like that. Obviously, you hate when people say, crappy things about you, but it really wears on you when you lose 5-6 in a row and every single article is just going after guys and media is asking the tough questions. And man, you couldn't go get a cup of coffee at the Starbucks without the barista. I remember a barista asking me the guy goes, what happened on that 3rd goal last night? And I'm like, just trying to get my morning coffee. And I'm like, hey,
everybody's a reporter, eh?
Yeah, but I guess everyone's a reporter. Everyone's a GM. Like, they all got these trade scenarios for me. They go up and they're like, we should do this and this for this. And I'm like,
but at the same time, though, like, you're a golden god, right? Like, what is easier? It's probably difficult to play, but yet everything you do, like when you're training your whole life to get into the NHL and the injuries you nurse, to me, with no skill at sports whatsoever, I would on some level be annoyed by fans that passionate, but also impressed because it means as much to them as it does to me, the player. Right?
No, you're exactly right. I thought it was super cool, to be honest. I I didn't mind it at all as much as other guys did. And no, I'm not saying it's everybody or saying guys in particular, but I didn't mind it at all. I love the spotlight. That's what I trained for. I trained to be criticized, and I trained to play at the highest level in the biggest spotlight.
I think, and you're like, boys, all you got to do, all you got to do, boys, is score on your first shift and pop a guy in the second, and you're a fan favorite at Edmonton. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
Rinse and repeat.
Go on.
So I got a couple questions for you that are kind of like hockey related, but not on the ice stuff. I guess my question was, I've heard a lot of really good like prank stories and a lot of good just like off the ice stories. Like, you got something in your long career of 3 different teams that like a guy that you ran into or a prank that you saw or something that might have happened to you? Just any story that sticks out in your mind?
No, that's a tough one because I didn't play with too many really good pranksters, and especially in Edmonton, there wasn't. That's
too bad.
Matty Hendricks would do stuff every now and then. Nothing off the top of my head, but he was always good for a laugh. And I would always get the rookies, and I was just about to drop somebody's name, but actually, I'll just say it was Oscar Clefbaum. I used to get all the time with the color helmet. We had blue and white helmets, and I'd always try to get him to put on the wrong color helmet. So one game day, we actually had him go all the way out on the ice, and we were all wearing blue helmets, and he had his white one on. Just like little stuff like that, just trying to mess with guys. But no, I never I never really played with a really good prankster like that.
That's good team camaraderie. Matt Hendricks, all world room guy, eh?
Incredible, man. I got the chance to sit down with Hendo. He's doing some player development for the Minnesota Wild now. So he was in Iowa when we were there last year with San Diego, and I got to sit down and we got to telling stories over a couple beverages, and just a lot of stuff came back to me. He was such a big part for me in my career, whether I only played, it was only a year and a bit or something like that. I don't even know how long it was, maybe 2 years, but so good for me, so great in the room DJ, would sacrifice. You saw him take that Shea Weber shot right off his man part. Like, he would put his life in front of the puck. And he taught me how to block shots. He taught me how to be a pro. I was a 6-year, 7-year pro at the time, but he taught me how to really be a day in, day out pro. And thankful for him, like every second of being with him.
And the fucking paralyzer move, baby. That thing was deadly. I love that shootout.
I could score on Will.
Luke, you walked into one of my questions. We actually met before a few years ago at a Violent Gentleman event we did together. And you said a story. You brought up Matt Hendricks getting hit in the pills. Now, I just want to confirm this again. At the time, did you tell us that there are certain guys in the NHL that do not wear cups? Because I feel like I remember that. It's something that stuck with me.
Yeah, I'm going to get myself into trouble with that one. Yeah, I'm sure I did. I remember that was at the Pint. Yeah, when we did the t-shirt line. Yeah, there are guys in the NHL who do not wear protection around their junk.
My God.
I can tell you that right now.
Oh, my God.
Aren't you just asking for trouble? Like, aren't you just rolling around with a loaded gun pointed at your head?
There's not that many, but I swear in my whole career, there's probably one on every team I've played with. I'll say
unbelievable.
Probably one on every team. Yeah.
What's the rationale?
Yeah.
I don't enjoy my penis.
Honestly, do you want to have kids? Like, I don't understand. The benefits don't outweigh the negatives for me in that scenario. It doesn't. The new age jocks, you can't even feel them. So I don't understand. I wore every piece of protection across my body necessary. Like,
if Matt Hendricks wasn't wearing a cup when that Shea Weber hit him, he would have turned into dust.
Yep, just exploded into glitter.
He might not be around for us to talk to.
Oh my God.
That's so crazy.
I've been carrying that for a couple of years now, Luke, and I was just like, did I make that up in my head, or is that a thing he actually told us? I'm pretty sure he actually told us. I'm glad.
No, that's real. That's real.
Oh my, good Lord.
That is
holy mackerel.
So with the amount of like, so you kind of were talking at the beginning of the interview about like the future for Luke Gazdic, and like there's a lot of hockey podcasts popping up, out in there, and they all got fun names: Dropping the Gloves, Spitting Chicklets, Missing Curfew.
Real life.
Don't plug our fucking podcast.
Bring your own podcast into it.
We're not a hockey podcast. We're a real life podcast. That's
true.
Different genre. What would yours be? Look, we come up with some fun names. Rocking the flow.
You know what? I'm open to suggestions because I do have I have my notepad down, and I have probably about dozens of names that I've landed on. I don't really like any, but we do have something kind of in the works, and I don't want to give away too much. But I'm not sure how much we're going to go. I'm not sure how much we're going to go through with it. I think it's going to be me and somebody else, but it's all in the introductory steps. So, if you guys have any good names, I've
got a title for you. It's either one of the two. It's either better than Lemieux, or quicker than Lemieux.
Quicker than Lemieux, bitch.
14-second abs.
Call it take that, Mario.
They're not 15 second. It's 14 second.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, no, we need more hockey podcasts. We need more hockey podcasts.
You do well too, because you're very likable, right? Like people like listening to you, people like talking to you. It's not about necessarily star power and shit. It's like if ex-players or current players want to talk to you because you're their boy, you'll kill at podcasting.
Yeah, I think it's a interesting avenue for me to go down, just because I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy talking, sports and whatever it is. So I know there's tons out there right now. So I just would want to do it in the right way. There's so much available content. People have such a variety of things they can choose from. I just want to do it in the best way and have it look clean and classy and funny as hell.
If you get into shit, come back and we'll help pump you up, man. Like you got friends in Edmonton and across the nation, right? Hockeyfights.com. We can drop in the gloves with John Scott. We can promote you there too. For sure. That's an avenue I'm definitely going to be exploring.
There you go. Let's just make this a business meeting now. Let's talk details here.
It's real life here, Chuck. You heard Chalmers.
Well, let us tell you about the new DFO. No,
what else would you like to talk about on your podcast? You make golf or any other sports? What do we do? What do we do outside the rink and outside
I'm sure it'd be everything. Yeah, you're right. I'm sure it'd be everything from Blue Jays baseball to music to sports and hockey and everything in between. So I'm still a young single. I think I'm young. I'm in my early 30s now, but I'm still single. Young. So I'm sure we just talk life and everything in between, man.
Consistency,
you
right?
A bunch too, didn't you? Didn't you travel a bunch recently?
That's one thing I'd love to do. Just the last year has been shut down, but yeah, I've been to a bunch of places. I've been to a bunch of countries in Europe, and then I did a solo backpacking trip through Thailand and Indonesia two summers ago now, awesome. Something like that, two summers ago. So yeah, I went for like 42 days by myself in Thailand.
Wow! If you do a show, buddy, just mentally commit to doing it for an extended period of time, right? Because it takes regular posting. Like we're on episode 287. We've been doing this once or twice a week now for 4 years. We're terrible, but we're almost at 1 million downloads because we put them out all the time, right? So if you're going to do a podcast, don't think that like some magic's going to happen in the first 2 shows where you'll be like, oh, that's totally worth it, but 6 months in, if you're doing them regularly, I bet you'll smash.
I know you're speaking my language. I had to keep working for 11 years to keep playing hockey. So.
True.
I think his commitment will be.
There's a lot of podcasts out there, but there aren't a lot of good podcasts out there. And you could do a good one for sure.
Yeah.
You didn't skip leg day for 20 years to be told to be committed.
To give up after 2 months of podcasting.
Yeah.
Well, this is hard.
Exactly.
Guys who don't wear cups. That's hard.
You talked about the travel.
I'm gonna get some. I might get some backlash from that story, but who knows?
No.
I'm not exposing anybody in particular.
No.
If they're rolling around with no cups, the worst thing is that people found out. Worry about how your balls are being exposed to death.
Yeah, I know.
Shout out Twig and Berries.
Yeah, shout out to hey, you know what? That's a good tie-in right there. Protect your junk with our friends at Twig and Berries. Good local company. Free shipping on orders over $75 in Canada. And don't forget that promo code NATION15 gets you 15% off. twigandberries.ca. Look at that. Seamlessly rolled that ad read into there.
Boom.
Smooth. That was smooth.
You talked about traveling. Is there anywhere still kind of on your travel bucket list? Like where's the first spot you're going when the pandemic is in air quotes over?
Man, that's a good question. I've had a couple circled. I'd love to go back to Asia. I want to go back and do Vietnam, and then head up to probably Japan, do a couple countries up there. But I've also thought about, South America, stuff like that. I have no idea. I might just spin the globe and land my finger and then just fly there. That's pretty much what I did when I flew to Bangkok. I booked the flight 48 hours before I took off and didn't have anything planned. So I had some trying times in that country, but I made it home alive. And so
I just got to ask, I spent about in total over 3 years, about 18 months in Thailand. So I'm just curious, like when you first landed in Bangkok and you're what was that like for you? Did you get the major culture shock we all did? As you're just like, what the fuck did I just do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, the first thing was the size. I was like stunned at how big it was and the population. It was just crazy. I went right down to Khao San Road, which is right downtown, my first night, and sent it pretty hard. It was cool though. The locals there, you can attest to, the locals are so cool and they love tourism. They love people, especially Canadians. Not saying anything against my US friends, but they love Canadians. And there's also tons of other travelers there that you meet. And like I was playing in the NHL and I was staying at hostels for like $30 a night and just meeting these cool travelers from all walks of life. And I kind of just fell into that zone like right away. And then I would pick my next city, or I just talk to people and they'd be like, hey, we're going here next. You want to come with us? I'd just be like, yeah, sure. Let's get on a train. Let's go. You know?
So at 6'4", you probably fit right in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how does that conversation go? Like you're backpacking, staying at hostels, and they're like, yeah, I'm like taking a gap year from school. What do you do? I play in the NHL.
There was some funny combos, I'm not gonna lie. Like we'd exchange Instagrams and they'd see like the verified or they'd see the big following and be like, wait, what are you doing here? You should be staying. Why are you staying here? Like, I'm in a bunk with two other people. I'm like,
I respect that though. I respect that you'd be willing to trade like NHL God in for normal civilian doing backpacking, because it's a very good experience to have in your life, right? And like traveling alone, as it's relatively anonymously, you're never really lonely, but you'd never figure that out unless you had the sack to do it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to make it sound too like, there was a couple nights I treated myself. There were a couple hotels here and there, you know? But for the most part, I had a backpack on, I had a pair of shoes and a pair of flips in my back, and I would just you sit down and you just meet, like I said, you meet these cool people from like, some people are, you know, taking a sabbatical from work. Some people have just finished school. Some people are like me who have no clue what they're doing. They're just traveling because they want to travel. And it was just really cool. It was such a fun experience.
But they have the nerve to do it, right? They have people that you meet backpacking. They all have friends at home that didn't come. But the people who went, when you meet them, you find kind of kindred spirits because they have the nuts to do it and go do something random, right?
Man, you got to put yourself out. You got to have some balls, first of all. And you got to put yourself out there. Like even being social, like you really have to put yourself out there. And that, to me, that was easy for me. I'll talk to anybody anytime. I'll have a conversation with, you know, Joe.
You're like, do you know who I am back home? I'm the shit.
No, like we'd talk hockey every now and then. Yeah. Mostly just like, it was cool. I was just journaling and meeting people, and it was great.
Considering
one more
that
question
you
about
like
Thailand.
Okay.
One more from me.
You
got a full moon party in?
I did, yeah. My timing was perfect. We went down, me and I think we had a crew at that point. I met two girls from Alberta, and there was a dude from New York, I think he was from, and we all went down to Copenhagen together. And yeah, we did. Did you do the jungle party the night before too?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
got it.
So I did jungle, and then we did the full moon, and that was enough Thailand for me. I think I flew right to Bali after that. For a week. Yeah.
Same spiral time.
Yeah, those buckets will get you, won't they?
Oh, buddy, do it. Yeah. Good
Did you two just become best friends?
I'll meet you on your next trip over there, Luke.
I'm coming. I'm telling you what. I remember when I did the full moon. I remember it was like 8 a.m. The sun's coming up, and I'm looking around me, and people are either passed out face first in the sand, or there's still people like dancing, and it's daylight. It was so weird. Couldn't process.
I know.
I was also very intoxicated.
I didn't even take that. Yeah, I didn't even take that many pictures because it was just like, I remember trying to explain to people like from back home what it was like, and I'm like, you cannot explain this. You just have.
Was there jungle boxing when we were there at the full moon? There was like the jungle ring set up. People were just randomly beating the hell out of each other.
I didn't see that. We didn't move around too much just because there was like 500,000 people there, and I was just like, where do I go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd have been a wagon in jungle boxing.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was painted up with neon glow from.
You have to.
Yeah. I had my hair tied back. It was
hell yeah.
Like, it was a blast, man.
All I hope for you is that you made it off the island before seeing yourself in the full moon video the next day, because they're filming the whole thing. That was a nightmare. Seeing yourself dancing. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's out there somewhere. I'm probably an absolute wreck in it, but sure it's hilarious.
The best.
Considering how much you like to travel, did you ever give any thought to like playing hockey in Europe or like doing some sort of hockey related activity overseas?
You know what? Not to get like too depressing on it, but at the end of my last year in San Diego, I was just done. Like my body was just done. It was getting to the point where on a day-to-day basis, I was waking up and everything was hurting. I've had my shoulders done like 4 times now, I think, like that. And man, 100 and whatever fights, you can look up how many it is, but and just mentally, it was just such a grind. You know, the minors it's tough. It's still a great life and nothing against, you know, playing hockey in the minors, but it just got to the point where I was just like kind of done with it, you know. And I had a couple opportunities to go over, but they weren't great, and I just didn't want to just go. And I figured that I would have rather just shut her down just because of the state I was in. And I was happy with myself. I don't have any regrets, and I was happy to walk away. Kind of, you know, it was on my own terms. My body kind of said no, but at the same time, I was done, you know.
When you come into the league and score quicker than Mario, you go out of the league on your own terms.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Exactly. You call your shots.
Since you obviously had to like work out and train your entire career to get where you made it, did you give yourself a little bit of a break now from the gym, or are you still at it and keeping up with it?
Yeah, no, I haven't been doing much. I ride the bike pretty much every morning. I think I got that instilled in me about halfway through my career. I'll probably say Dallas Eakins is the guy that got me on a bike, and I probably haven't got off since. So I ride the bike, and I just try to stay active, but I'm not like in the gym, you know, lifting weights and squats, and I haven't been on the ice at all. Haven't really put on full gear in a long time either. So I'm just trying to stay active as much as we can here and keep the body going. But, you know, it's good for the mind as well. So just trying to stay active.
I only had one more Oilers question written down, then I was going to ask you something about the playoffs, but the last Oilers topic I wanted to touch on, we have to ask you about, you know, playing with Connor McDavid and kind of what that was like in your first year, because you would have been here in his rookie season. So what was your first impression of Connor McDavid when you got to see him on the ice or even off the ice? What's he like?
Yeah, you know, he's the guy I get asked about the most. I think more than even my first goal. And I'm sure he gets
real original.
He's like,
yeah, way to go, your M Chuck.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, boys. Fuck.
No, all good.
I played and lived with arguably the best player in the world, and I just think about him reading my quotes, just saying. He goes, I'm thinking he's saying, "Oh, what did God say about me now?" Like I'm sure he's heard me say everything, but yeah, he moved in with me and Taylor his rookie year, so it was me, him, and Halsey living in the same house. So I got to see him on and off the ice, and it's just incredible. He's a great kid, super focused on hockey, but still has that fun side to him. He's easy to talk to. And when he comes to the rink, it's all business, and he is truly as good as advertised. I know it's pretty obvious, but getting to see him on a day-to-day basis in practice and seeing some of the things he tries in practice and you know, the way he carries himself every day is just incredible. It was honestly a pleasure and an honor to get to play with him and live with him. And even his hockey IQ, I told the story to someone the other day. He told me about his, you know, that first goal against Columbus when he came back after the collarbone, where he walked through their entire team. And I remember watching SportsCenter with him after. I think we caught the late one. It was 11 or noon or not noon, midnight, sorry. And he kind of walked me through like what he was seeing there. And I just asked him, I'm like, what were you thinking here? And he would say stuff. And I just it blew my mind because I had never heard someone talk the game like that. He's just on a different level, and you can see it now. He's just dominating in every aspect.
You have a unique perspective. Sorry, Begno. You have a unique perspective on knowing how intense Oilers fans are and how we make mountains out of molehills. And then the big mountain just got dealt to us randomly. It's a golden age up here, even if we're not going deep in the playoffs yet, because there's so much shit for us to overanalyze that he does on a night-to-night basis. It's our honor too, frankly.
Yeah, really. I know.
And the last Oilers question I want to ask you is, there's some great photos going around from your time here. Obviously Joey Moss passed away a little while ago. I was just kind of hoping that you could maybe give us like a story or a memory or a thought maybe about Joey that maybe people didn't know about. My favorite thing personally is when we get to do these, some of the guys that have come through, like Sam Gagner comes to mind, just talking about how great it was to spend time with Joey Moss. So I just kind of want to hear your perspective on it.
Yeah, him and Gags were best buddies. I probably wouldn't have been, I don't want to say I wouldn't have been as good buddies with Mosser if it wasn't for Gags, but they were like best buddies. So he kind of introduced me, and we would take him out for lunch, and he would even come over. We had like Taco Tuesday at Sam's, and we'd go pick Monster up and bring him out. But I've told this story before, so I don't know if you guys have heard it, but I did it in the Remember and Joy Moss doc that Sportsnet aired. It was his birthday. It was his 50th birthday. And we had it at Ryan Smith's house. It was this gorgeous place in the West End. And I didn't even know he was doing this. And we showed up, and Smitty had rented, or I don't even know how he did it, a full-size wrestling ring in his backyard on the ice, kind of where he builds his rink. So it was like, it was like November, but it was like minus 30 there already. But there was a massive rink, and we had a whole thing set up for, I think there was 3 matches. So like, it was like semi-professional wrestlers going or whatever. And at the end, when the guy won the belt, he like reached over the turnstile and he pointed right at Joe, and he was like, "Now you're Moss, or you're next. You're mine. Like it's your turn." And Moss's like face just went like completely pale. And we're like, "Joey, go." So it's like all the spouses and everyone from management. And he went in there and he like kind of set it up, and he tapped the guy out, and he took the belt, and he was going like this, walking around, and it was just great. It was like the coolest night ever, and everyone was just loving it. And it was, I if you could ask Mosser, I'm sure it's one of his coolest experiences too, because he had smile from eye to eye. I think he wore the belt at the rink for like 2 weeks after that, just walking around folding towels with the championship belt on. So that's a story, but on a day-to-day basis, he was the best, man. He was he made my time there so much better. You'd walk in and I'd say hi, and he'd have a chirp ready for me right away. He'd say something all the time, and we'd wait till he's done all his chores. And my favorite part of every morning was sitting around we had this kind of breakfast island, and it was usually like me, Gags, Jeff Petrie, Halsey, and Ebbs. Ebbs was always in the mix. Ebbs was always stirring the pot. He was pot stirrer number 1, but we would just sit down and shoot the breeze with Joey, and it was just the funniest. It was a good 20 minutes, but it's funnest part of every morning at Rec Fall.
That's amazing.
That's a great story, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
So we've been talking a little bit about, the distant future, but what's summer looking like for Luke Gazdic? What do you got? Nothing like everyone else, or?
Nothing on the go right now. I'm living in downtown Toronto and going to try to get some stuff going. I'll see what happens, but it's just nice to be home. Hopefully I can start seeing some more friends and family here soon. We don't even have much open still, but I'll be in the heart of the city. I'll be watching my Blue Jays, who are playing down in Buffalo right now, but I'm going to try to get some stuff going on the side. And like I said, I got a couple things in the works, so we'll see where we go from here.
Jay's
Whatever
got
you're
enough
doing,
to
come back.
Oh, I got a Jay's question. They got enough to grab a wild card spot here?
Oh man, I thought so right away, but
slipped a little.
I do. I do. I think so. They got some work to do, but pitching's looking a little better. Manoah wasn't that great last night, but the bats are coming around, and as long as they keep that pitching going down the stretch, I think that'll give them a shot too.
Have you young guys taken the opportunity to go back and watch a bunch of Vladdy Guerrero senior highlights from back in the day? Like
when he'd hit one off the ground and it'd go to the fence, like just
my
shit.
God, this guy. Yeah, so
Sans batting gloves too.
Sans batting gloves. Yeah. Famous stories about him is he was like the literal worst base runner in the world. He just would advance with he would just not look at the base coaches. He thought that the further I got, the better. So he would just run on anything. But man, he could mash the talent to mash the way he did with no batting gloves, just looking like you're just a mess walking up there.
Throwback.
Oh, dude, man. This guy could throw. This guy could hit the baseball a mile. I saw a clip of him throw it from third base to over the right field wall. He could throw it a mile, and like you said, he'd walk up there, huge chew in with no batting gloves, and just hit it a mile. I used to love watching that guy play.
Luke, that's all from me, unless anyone else has a quick one, but we really appreciate your time, man. Like we said, you're an all-time fan favorite up here in Edmonton. Yes. And I know they always welcome you back good. So
whenever you get going, come back. We'll help hype it up.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. Not just you guys, but man, oil country has been incredible just over this little last retirement period, but even just through the years, man, I'll get tweets every now and then. Once an Oiler, always an Oiler. People telling me they still have signatures and pucks. I threw them over the glass.
I still see your jerseys at Rogers.
Oh yeah, you'll see a Gasdic jersey.
Damn right you will.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's been the outpour from Oilers Nation, man, has been crazy the last couple of days. I really didn't think there were that many people that still remembered and liked me. So it's been overwhelming, but boys, it's been unreal, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for bringing us.
Yeah,
and thank you for bringing us joy during the decade of darkness. You made some of our nights. Like that Lucic fight is one of them. Your first game is one of them. They were dark days as Oilers fans, but you gave us a sense of purpose and joy. So thank you for that.
No problem. I was more than happy to, boys.
All right.
43 minutes. What a guy.
Good. He's nice.
Yeah, holy shit. We went deep with Gaz.
Me and Luke Gazdic are going to Thailand together.
Yeah, you are.
Not a big deal.
We're going to get silly.
I respect a guy
with you.
Sorry, buddy. I respect that you can take your life as an NHL star where you're being treated everywhere you go like royalty on like private 747s and shit. And if you can trade that in for going and being a backpacker, you're a certain type of person.
Yeah.
Because most people are like, why the hell would I stay in a hostel when I'm used to staying at the Ritz? Right.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love that.
So a guy like him, he's really got like the whole package. I mean, like he's really well spoken. You know, everybody respected and liked everything he did in his NHL career, and like he's a good-looking dude, man. The guy could
you pull yourself together, Chalmers.
He can do whatever he wants. I'm just saying, it's like it's the at 33 to retire hockey. Or he's 33, he said, right?
Yeah.
To retire hockey at 33 and have the world just open to you like that, it's got to be pretty refreshing. Cool. Got to be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Who knows? Maybe we got more Oilers Nation Luke Gazdic content coming to you. Maybe. I'm just saying that because I think he's good at this shit. Why are you teasing
us? You gotta let us know.
Hey, you got an idea? Your M check? What the fuck's going on?
I thought I was going to DM him directly and start a travel blog, but I guess you got different ideas.
I already DM'd him and said, you and me could take over this your M check shit and run things.
Luke Gazdic can host the pod.
If he's spending $30 a night on his place in Thailand, we're going to have that, Luke, you know?
Yeah,
it's like if you go all the way over there, I don't care how much money you have, like you should have the experience that you're looking for, and the experience that you're looking for is the hostel experience, which is honestly my worst nightmare. Like I'd be in hotels and I don't even have money, and I would just be straight up not staying in hostels because I need air.
The fun thing about backpacking, the fun thing about going to the full moon party is your money's almost of no value. Right. Like if you have a bucket, like Bagmilk was talking about, which is like a plastic bucket with ice, with a Mickey of whatever the hell, and it's like a quarter. That's really all you need until you need another bucket.
Yep.
And save $1 for your street pad tie later.
Exactly. Put mayonnaise on your pizza wanye, which has been out in the sun for ages, and wonder why you got food poisoning one night.
Or you just eat like a random, street chicken that who knows how long that's been sitting there. That was my go-to.
Yeah, why is chicken in quotation marks? Oh, chicken.
Everything you guys are saying are the things that you would write down if you were trying to talk me out of going somewhere. Yeah.
I love it.
Street chicken, outside.
Towers, you wouldn't want to drink a bucket of Ryan Coke.
Oh yeah,
and know there's another bucket coming when that one's done.
Yeah, and it's only 50 cents away.
Yeah.
If we're talking traveling, truth be told, I did my fair share. I mean, I've been to Europe a bunch of times, 3 times. And the one time I went, I did backpack and I was 20. And it was like I stayed in hostels and that experience was amazing. So like I've done it, but I think I'm a little too old, a little too long in the tooth for that kind of stuff.
I remember you coming. Were you on your way to Europe or on your way back when you came and met us at the Stampede? Back 1 year.
On my way back.
I'm picking you up at the airport. You're like, I am dead. And I was like, you better pull your shit together because we were at the Stampede and we're like 20. So how about get it together.
So, my now wife was staying in Europe for another 2 weeks with a couple friends of hers. And so, but I had to come home. And I remember I flew into Calgary to meet you guys for Stampede.
We picked up at the airport.
Boss move.
It was awesome.
Huge play. Huge play.
That's why I had to come home was the Stampede.
You remember when we used to go places and do shit? You remember that?
Oh my God. Stay at the Point Inn.
The Point.
Right on
Barlow. Never full.
Barlow Trail for $14 a night.
Yeah.
Every hotel in town is sold out. I guarantee you, I know where there's a room.
I was actually looking at flights in last night.
I'm planning trips right now. I'm straight up too. All this stuff is happening. Like I've already planned September, October, November, and December. We have
Chalmers, I heard there's a December move happening.
Oh, did you hear about it?
I've heard. I've heard.
Yeah, it's it's very preliminary, but it's happening, and you're coming, and everybody, it's going to be amazing.
Am I coming?
You want to come?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will you
As
though,
long as,
Ramchak?
as long as the flight isn't more than, what was Tyler's max? It was like 5 or 6 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I will not be on a plane for more than 4.5, 5 hours.
No, this is like
Really?
this is your typical Mexico move, you know.
Okay.
But no kids, Mexico's couples,
Oh, that's good. I don't have kids.
private resort. Just
I don't
kidding.
have a couple. Can I
But
still
not-
come?
Like, no,
Yeah.
we'll go together.
Go as a kid.
Yeah, you two go together.
That'd be fun.
$138 a night for a one bed, US. So you guys can sleep together in it, and then it'd be
No
nice.
problem.
Sharesies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Luke Gazdic set me up perfectly to do my Twig and Berries ad read.
That was
However,
great.
he did not set me up perfectly to do the Manscaped ad read. I was really wishing he would have. Manscaped.com, use the promo code Real Life, gets you 20% off and free shipping, whether it's the Lawnmower 4.0 or one of their wink big packages that they have on the site. You can take care of your package with Manscaped.com, promo code Real Life.
Now, I don't like to judge a book by its cover, but to judge a book by its cover, I think Luke Gazdic would be in serious need of Manscaped tools.
How dare
At the
you.
present time or just in general? You don't
Why?
think
Because he
it's-
has lots of
he's got-
hair on his face and head. You think he's got hair all over his package?
How
Yeah,
dare
like,
you.
like a wild animal? How dare
like,
you?
I grow a beard. I've got chest hair. It's
I
kinda
grow a
direct
beard. I have
correlation.
chest hair. Doesn't
I
mean I'm
believe
a-
his manscaping is pristine.
Oh, I bet you
don't-
he keeps it tight. I don't know, but sorry. I mean, like he's not in like need of it in sense of like
Oh.
he's hairy right now, but like he would really like he probably enjoys the tools of
What
Manscaped
are
and
you
what they do
doing?
for him. I'm trying to figure out how to articulate this properly because I guess it came off wrong.
Well, it might have. Basically,
Yo,
heard
no,
that
you're taking-
Luke
you're taking away
Gazdic
from-
has a
Well,
Clown
okay.
and
Some
Ed
people,
Newlock.
some
Luke Gazdic's so
people-
gross.
Your takeaway from the interview
no,
was that
no,
he's
no.
probably a man who needs to and likes to shave his package
Got a
with a
big
manscape
bush.
because he's Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling that he needs Manscaped just as much as I need Manscaped because I produce a lot of hair, being a hairy guy.
I'm definitely not going to be the one to tell him.
I
All
feel
right.
like we're
If you're
part of the same
if-
club.
If you're playing in the
Alright.
NHL and you're not wearing a cup, do not use Manscaped. You
Yeah,
need
that's-
every bit of cushioning.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Grow it out. That's the only time I would
Absolutely.
ever infer to grow it
Yeah.
out is if you're not rocking a cup. One on every team, boys. I'm going to be watching
Littering
games now
and-
for years. being like,
and- You're gonna be
Idiot.
staring at everyone's junk, being like, "Are you the one? Are you the one?"
I wish we could bet on it, somehow. I wish there was some kind of betting on it.
Does that surprise you, Remchuk? As a guy who knows more about hockey than virtually everyone I know, does it surprise you one person per team has no cup?
Listen, there are a lot of idiots in the world, and I think that becoming a professional athlete does not always weed out idiots. And I just think that there are idiots in the NHL, and they
I'm
would
amazed
probably
it's legal, to be honest. You'd think the ref would go around and grab everyone's junk. Oh, I see why they don't do it. Never mind.
Or like
Yeah.
insurance or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
insurance, exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody's checking. That's the thing. Of course, it's like if the dude got a puck in the crotch and they found out he wasn't wearing a cup, I highly doubt the team's insurance is going to pay for that. Like
Just-
his
ugh.
hospital bills.
They
It's
would
like
probably
you-
not tell. They would just
I
keep
just
it in the
wanna
G
know-
code.
I just want to know what the benefits are of not wearing
None.
one. Like, what is the benefit?
Zero.
Like,
So
you're
so
not faster because of it. It's
right. So I when I played hockey, I hated when it would fall down. Like it would go down because the socks would I like to pull my socks down and and I tape them in place. And so when you move, sometimes the can fall down and come under. And so I have to keep pulling it up, right? Unless I was to because the bands just aren't, I guess, tight enough. So, I mean, maybe it's that. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. And my junk was so big, it was pushing it down, Veg Milk.
or it's so small that it couldn't latch on.
Or latch on.
Yeah, like
The other
something
day-
like
Latch
really.
onto a,
overdue for some manscaping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Velcro down there,
You're not hanging up a jacket, your M-Chuck. It's just sitting there.
The other day, me and Wanye Jr. were watching TV, like you do, and he folded in half and kicked me so hard in the region, not
Yeah.
knowing anything. He's a baby, obviously. I mean, he probably did it on purpose.
No, he meant it.
I had to go put him down and walk around in a circle for about a minute until I could regain my senses. I couldn't imagine being grazed by a flip pass in the NHL, let alone a slappy. Whew.
It's like that. There was a Saturday Night Live sketch where they were designing man And they're like, well, what is that there? And they're like, well, that's the hangy thing in the pack and the wrinkle pouches. And she's like, oh, well, so the hangy thing, it's like sensitive. And they're like, oh no, you could punch and bend that thing all you want. It's never going to get hurt. Oh, well, what about the wrinkle pouches? Oh, you flick that. And we go crying into a ball.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like, well, yeah, it's fucking hilarious. I loved it.
Okay.
Like if you had a puck tipped into your groin region with no
quit
cup.
hockey. I should have quit hockey.
I said this on the podcast. I did not. If there were times when I forgot my can for practice and I just went home.
Yeah.
We've learned something today. I feel like it's true and it's a mild secret that he divulged to us by telling us this.
Every
so
team that rolls into Edmonton next year, it will become a bit on our podcast. We need to look at the photos of the players and try to guess who isn't wearing the cup.
This is going to require some deep study and thought. I agree.
Deep study. Yep.
All right. I'm going to wrap up the pod here. This has been episode 287 of the Real Life Podcast.
This is a gooder.
Oh, a big shout out to Luke Gazdic. This was a really fun episode.
Yeah, what a beauty.
And we didn't talk over each other too much. So good guest.
Yeah, we did pretty good. Yeah.
Decently executed. Good ad reads. I scored this one a solid 9.5 out of 10.
I want to ask the listeners, if you're listening to this, hit us up, Nation Real Life on Twitter and Instagram. Who's your guess? I want to know who people's guesses are for the canless folk. That's why this guy's
if fucking
definitely
Connor is doing all this with no cup on, I wouldn't even be surprised.
You just guides him like a torpedo.
He's like, I wrap the one thing around the other things, and that's harder than a cup, bitches. I'm good.
Shout out to our friends at the HGA group for sponsoring this podcast. Hopefully you continue to sponsor it after you hear all this junk talk at the end.
Speaking of HGA, we're going to need their help. I just got a text message about an agreement that just got signed that we'll talk about later, and we're going to need their help more than ever.
Is it with Luke Gazdic's cup?
What a tease.
You're becoming the ultimate tease machine.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hey, you are a tease machine.
Wanye, I just got a text message.
Tuned for Monday's episode. That's how.
That's radio fundamentals.
Game. Jeez.
You
got to spread it out. Spread it out over all the episodes. This isn't episode 1 of 1.
I have one question.
Oh, what?
When is the pool heater going to be ready, for crying out loud?
Well, just so you know, Mother Nature's been the pool heater, and I got the pool going at about 21 degrees right now.
Where are you doing this podcast right now? Where'd you go?
He's walking. He's just doing his thing.
So, I'm walking. Well, okay, here's an HGA business story for you. Little brick, built in 1903 when air conditioning wasn't even existed. Mm-hmm. So as a functioning cafe in the summer, she gets hot. She gets real hot.
2,000 degrees hot.
So we just installed air conditioning.
We did?
Upgrades.
We did.
In a pandemic?
In a pandemic, we pulled it off.
Upgrades.
We got air conditioning. So, as we've talked about, why the office being a sauna in the winter, and sometimes an ice box in the spring, it's because the thermometer that runs the whole main floor of the cafe, which my office is on, is in the cafe side. Mm-hmm. So if the cafe is hot, which it is, and it's because the sun's coming in and all the warm air is coming in because the door is open, the AC kicks on. Well, in my office, it is not hot. So the AC is kicking on, and it is probably, I bet you it is 14 degrees in my office right now.
All the people that don't have air,
to cool
that
this
sounds
neighborhood.
Lovely.
Yeah, all the people that don't have air conditioning right now are feeling really bad for you right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. So I'm so cold. I had to get out of the office. So after we got off the phone with Luke, I walked outside because I'm warming up right now.
It's like having too much money. I'm too cold on the hottest days of the year.
Yeah.
I'm just too cold. It's just ridiculous.
The big thing is the business needed it, right? Our staff need it, and our customers need it when we can do dine-in again. So it's important. So it doesn't matter how I feel in the office.
You're such a hero. All right.
I'm a hero.
I'm going to wrap up.
Thank you.
I'm a hero. Me, Mario, and you.
Thank you.
Take care, my friends. We'll see you on Monday for Jay's big secret.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Great job on making it through the entire hour of the Real Life Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from.